All right, the first concept we have to talk about when it comes to marketing automation and when it comes to ActiveCampaign is tags. The what and the why of tags so that we can get it right the first time. Because I guarantee you, if you don't invest some time into this part of your marketing, your ActiveCampaign is going to become a dumpster fire. It's going to become a mess and it's going to become unworkable. So really, tags are the linchpin, the central dashboard, the hub of all the activity inside ActiveCampaign. So it really pays benefits to sit down, put a little bit of thought into how you're going to manage your tags before you start, because it's really much harder to clean up after the fact. So we're going to talk about tags here. So why are tags so important? Because it's really kind of the primary way that, one, we make things happen in ActiveCampaign, and two, that we target and segment our context or segment our audience so that we can follow them through our marketing path, we can follow them through the customer journey, and we can find out what they're the most interested in so we can give them the most relevant offers and not bombard them with stuff they're not interested in, right? It's that old saying, getting the right message to the right person at the right time. And primarily how we're going to do that is through the use of tags in ActiveCampaign. And also because tags are, people coming to ActiveCampaign, tags are usually kind of a new concept. If you're coming from Aweber or MailChimp or some other platform that doesn't support tags and only has lists, this may be a new concept to you. So it's important that we tackle that first. We get it right the first time. So as I said, the what and why of tags. What tags, as the name implies, it's really just a way of putting a label onto somebody, much like you put a little tag on a present at Christmas time to let you know who it's for and who it's from, etc. We can put tags onto our contact records as they work their way through our marketing so that we know what they've done already, we know what state they're in, we know where they are in the marketing journey, we know what information they've been exposed to, we know what topics they're interested in. We can do all those things with tags. We can fire automations, we can stop automations, we can do a whole bunch of different things with tags. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But really, primarily, the most important thing is using them to be able to segment your audience, right? So that we know what people are interested in and we can target those people with the products that are the most relevant. Now, you can do that with the older systems like Aweber that are just list-based, but it quickly becomes a really big problem, it quickly becomes a mess, and it become expensive. So let's look at the old way of tracking a customer through our marketing with something like Aweber, for example, right? So the old way, you would have some sort of opt-in box or some sort of offer, and that customer, let's call him Jim. Jim's going to log in, or he's going to offer us his name and email address, and he's going to go on to our mailing list, and he'll be on our main mailing list, which is the list that everybody's on. So let's say he comes back the next day and he sees a lead magnet or a PDF download or something that we're offering him for free, and he's interested in that, and he downloads that particular lead magnet. So now he might be on a second list, which is the lead magnet list. And then that lead magnet may be specifically designed to upsell them to a particular product. So in the scenario we're going to use throughout the course, we are a personal trainer who offers programs, running programs, strength programs, nutrition programs, that kind of stuff. So Jim may have downloaded a PDF about the top 10 running shoes out there. So now we know he's interested in running, right? Because he's expressed an interest in it. So he's on the lead magnet list. That automatically makes him a candidate for our running program and makes him a lead for our online running program. So we might put him on the lead list for the running program. And we start mailing him running related content because he's expressed an interest in that. And then he might sign up for a webinar. So he comes and gets on the May webinar, doesn't buy just then, comes back for another webinar in June. We decide that we want to run a promo in June, so we put together a promo list. We know he's interested in running, so we put him on that promo list. Now we've got a promo list. We send out our promotion, and he eventually ends up buying, so he may go on a customer list. So now Jim has worked his way from an anonymous website user to being interested in a particular topic like running, to becoming a lead for a running program that we sell. He's attended a couple of events like webinars, and then he's bought the product. So he's worked his way through the entire customer lifecycle from anonymous browser to a buyer. But he's ended up on 7 different lists. So this is kind of the Aweber multi-list nightmare that most people start out with. And with some systems like Aweber, if that person is on 7 different lists, for example, you're getting charged 7 different times. So even though that's the same person and there are 7 different lists there, you're paying for that person 7 times. So if you have like a 1,000 contact plan, this person, Jim's going to count for 7 of those contacts. It makes it a bit silly, right? So that's the old way of doing it. You can see it becomes a mess and it becomes pretty sprawled out and unworkable pretty quickly. Number one. Number two, if I want to go see Jim and see his life cycle through my business and through my marketing, there's no one central place I can do that. He's across 7 different lists. I don't know when he joined this list and what he clicked on and what he did that. I would like to just have one contact record that says Jim, and I can see every interaction I've had with Jim since the time he opted into our list. All right, so that's really kind of what you can do with ActiveCampaign, and you can do it relatively easily once you master tags. So let's have a look at the new way, or the ActiveCampaign way, of using tags to track Jim through our system, right? Before we do that, let's talk about what tags are. We talked a little bit about that, but what can we use tags for? As I said, tags are a label that you can attach to a content to track a number of things. It's a better way to segment and target your contacts than having them across multiple different lists like we just saw. Labels can be applied to each contact in your list. So Jim may have very different tags applied to their contact record than, say, another web visitor like Jane, who might be more interested in nutrition. She's going to have a whole different set of tags, right? And we can search through our system and say, show me everybody with tag XYZ, or everyone who's interested in running, or everyone who's interested in nutrition. And we can target those people based on the tags that they have. We can use it to track customer behavior and progress. As I said, we can put different tags on those people as they move their way through the customer lifecycle, which we'll see in just a second. They can trigger other actions in the system. So for example, the addition of a tag might fire an automation like an upsell sequence or a post-purchase sequence or an onboarding sequence, for example. Or if you take a tag off, that might fire another sequence. So they can trigger actions elsewhere in the system. And they can also control the flow of your messaging. So for example, if someone's getting onboarding messages because they just bought a particular product, maybe I don't want to interfere with that. I don't want to bother them or confuse them with other messaging that might be going out on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. I want to wait until their onboarding is complete before I start hitting them with other messages. So I can use tags to say, hey, isolate this particular person until the onboarding sequence is done, and then we'll put them back into the general marketing stream. So those are some of the things you can do with tags, and we're going to go through all that throughout the course. But let's look at that same scenario we just looked at where Jim ends up on our list, and how we can use tags to follow him through that customer journey, right? So he joins the main list. He's reading through a few articles, and he sees our lead magnet about how to get rid of knee pain when you're running. So he downloads that particular lead magnet. And we're going to put a tag onto his contact record, lead magnet, knee pain. So I know he's downloaded that lead magnet, or he was at least interested in that lead magnet, and he signed up for it. So that's some customer behavior of his I want to track. It lets me know what he's interested in. Obviously, he's a runner if he's downloading that kind of running-related content, right? As I said in the last example, that also makes him a lead or a particular prospect for our running program. So I'm going to give him a lead tag that says, hey, this guy's a lead for our running program. He hasn't bought it yet, but we might want to sell it to him. He's interested in running, so let's start sending him more running-related content to try and get him to buy our running program. He shows up to our May webinar where we talk about training and how to run pain-free. He doesn't buy then, but he comes back for the June webinar. We tag him with that so that we know his behavior. So we know that he's seen the content of the May webinar. We know he's seen the content of the June webinar. We don't repeat that information to him again over and over and over again. We decide to search through all our documentation and see everybody who has the lead tag for the running program, and we want to send out a promo. But we want to make sure we know that he got this promo at some point, so we don't keep sending it to him over and over, over again. So we're going to give him a promo tag for the June running program promo. And then eventually he buys. So we're going to give him a purchase. We want to know that he's purchased the running program. So we're giving him a purchase tag that lets us know that. And now since he's purchased the running program, he's no longer a lead for it. He's a customer now. So we can now remove that lead tag. And now we get, anytime I can come back to Jim's profile, I can look at his profile, which we'll see a little bit further in the course, and I can see every tag that's on there. So I can see exactly where he's kind of gone through, what tags he has on him now, and potentially the history of that, and how he got to that point as well, which may inform my marketing going forward. If this particular offer is converting better than another one, based on the number of people that it worked on, I can start rolling that out to a broader audience. So that's a little example of how we're going to use tags throughout the course and why it's so important to get these tags right. I've seen when we migrate customers across, somebody came across with 27 different lists, and there were people that were on all 27 of those lists. We rationalized that down to 1 or 2 or 3 lists, and then we categorize everybody with tags. Much easier to manage, much easier to get a holistic view of your customers, and much easier to segment them than having them on a million different lists. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to use tags? How are we going to get our tagging program, our tagging plan down? So first of all, we have to have a plan before we start, because if we don't, it's quickly going to become a mess, right? I've seen people's accounts with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tags. So if you don't have some sort of naming convention, or it's called a taxonomy, if you don't have some sort of taxonomy around how you're going to organize your tags, they're going to become an unworkable mess quickly, number one. And number two, if you hire or you have other people working in the account, you might have 3 or 4 or 5 people working in your ActiveCampaign account. If there isn't some sort of agreed upon naming convention, everyone's going to do things a little bit differently. Everyone's going to get lost in everybody else's naming convention. So it's really important that we get this right the first time we come up with our naming plan first. So I've got a free guide. Some of you may already have that, the Ninja Guide to Tagging. There's a link near the video here if you want to download that again and have a look at it. It walks you through how I organize tags for myself in my own businesses and with my consulting clients, how we go through this process of organizing the tags. And then there's also a spreadsheet, which we'll talk about in just a second in the next module. And that spreadsheet will help you organize the tags. And once the tags are all organized in your spreadsheet, we'll simply copy and paste them across into an area in ActiveCampaign called the Tag Manager, which we'll talk about soon. So that's how we're going to use tags. That's how we're going to get organized. And that's why it's so important. See you in the next module.